Sometimes being a single parent could be the best thing that happens to your children and yourself. This is a continuation on with the conversation that I started yesterday. I guess not really a conversation, it's more one-sided unless you reach out to me and we discuss it. But bottom line, why can your children and you be better off being a single parent? Okay, single parent, I'm going to define that. A single parent can be somebody that is no longer married and they're parenting their children as a single person. That does not mean, though, that there's not joint custody, that the other parent does not have them for, whatever scheduled visitation was set up by the courts, or, however they split up the time. Maybe it's true joint custody where it's 50-50, or maybe it's similar to how mine is. Mine started out as joint custody, eventually ended up being where I had custody, and the kids, except for one, were staying with me. One would go to their mom's house for a week and then a week back to my house. So a single parent, and why do I say it can be better off for the kids and better off for yourself? Well, it's because you don't have to worry about being, disconnected from your family. When I had my children, whether I had full custody, which I eventually got, or I just had joint custody, you literally are present in the moment. You have no choice. You don't have another parent to say, hey, I got to work late, or hey, I want to go and do whatever extracurricular sport that a lot of adults do. And men are famous for that. I'm not going to try to pick on men. It's just a reality. They'll go and do their extracurricular rec league, hockey at night, or ball during the summer, or whatever. Women do it too. But in my experience, it's more the men than it is the women that do it. And that man is just living the family life as a facade. They're really not interjected into the family life. They're really not supporting the family life. And it's the woman that's doing a majority of it, right? And unfortunately, divorce happens, separation happens. Now, all of a sudden, when I'm with my kids, I'm 100% with my kids. I'm forced, to be present. And eventually, it's not even a forced situation. I looked forward to it. Initially, it was a bit of a shock because I did work a lot and, I wasn't always necessarily present. But all of a sudden, when that changed and the kids are now in my life all the time, during my time with them, I was present. I was the person taking them to their extracurricular activities. I wasn't pawning it off on other people. I was the one that was taking them to the park. I was the one that was taking them to get clothing. I was the one that was doing all of this. And what did it do? It created a stronger bond between my children and myself, made me into a more present parent. And so many parents, sorry if you're couples that you are listening to this and you're married, and if this, irritates you, I do apologize, right? But I hope it irritates you in a good way, where you decide that you want to be more present in your family's life, that you don't want to be gone chasing after whatever hobby you have, and you've put that as more of a priority than raising your kids, being with your spouse. So this does work both ways. It's just, in my experience, it's more prevalent toward men not being present, but there is women out there that aren't present, and the man's the one that's at home and they're working long, hard hours. They've got hobbies that are interfering with the family unit. So if you're a couple raising your kids, right, be present in your children's lives. Take responsibility. Be there when they need you to be. Or you could be in a circumstance all of a sudden where you're a single parent, and it's going to be forced upon you. And you know what? That's a good thing, because many parents I talk to, many separated couples in my 18 years of my industry in finance, I've sat down, and the disconnection between them and the family unit is usually tied again to their own selfishness, their own wanting to do, things that aren't necessarily involving the family, but they were so used and ingrained to doing it prior to having kids that they keep on doing that same pattern. And that same pattern is not conducive to family unity. When you have kids, you give up the right to be selfish about your own needs. Yeah, you heard me right. You gave up the right to be selfish about what it is that you want. Now, first and foremost in your thought process should be your children, your significant other if you are a couple. If you're a single parent, then your focus should be 100% on your kids. Obviously, if you're in a job situation that forces you to work overtime and you can't be around your kids in the evenings, or you run a business that takes up a lot of your time, my suggestion to you is figure it out how you can relax the amount of work that you're doing either at a career or in your own business. If you have to, slow down, because you know what? Life's in session. Your kids grow up fast, and you don't want to be that parent that spent all their time working and was not connected to their kids when they were growing up. And you don't want to be that person that's looking back, having regrets, wishing you would have been present in your children's experiences of them growing up, right? It is that precious. I did it. I was involved. I was integrated into my kids' lives. Even when I had joint custody, I was still attending their events. I was still taking them to things. I was still taking them on holidays. I was not making excuses that my things in my life, including my career, my business, were more important than them. Did I suffer because I put them on a pedestal and put them above everything else? Financially, I certainly did, but I have no regrets. I made it through to the other side. My kids are all growing up, and I say this and people laugh. None of them are in jail as of yet. Anyway, just kidding. They, be present. And as a single parent, you're forced to be present. Eventually, it's not even a forced thing. You will learn to love it, enjoy it, relish it. And I did. And I would take my kids, even in the joint situation before I got full custody, and asked to have them on weekends when it wasn't mine. Got offered to have them on weekends when weekends weren't mine. Why? Because I loved spending time with my children. And I have no regrets. And I will cherish the memories of being a single parent, raising my kids the rest of my days. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I talk to you about all this stuff because I give a heck, and I want to help you give a heck as well. God bless you all. Peace out. We'll talk to you tomorrow.